Well, the things that relatives and neighbors are saying about this suspect Farouk seem to paint a very contradictory picture. His father said he was, quote, very religious. And a neighbor told reporters that about 2 years ago, he became more devout, growing a beard and wearing religious clothing. Others say he seemed normal, quiet, and was living the American dream. And our next guest, who was once an extremist himself, says that's exactly the problem, and that the signs of someone going down the path of an Islamic radical may not be as obvious as you think. Megyn Nawaz is a former Islamic extremist and author of Radical: My Journey Out of Islamist Extremism. Megyn, thank you very much for being here. What we like to think we would know if we worked next in the county, for the county, and we worked next to somebody who is becoming radicalized, but we might not know.
Actually, most times, Megyn, we don't know, and that's the sad state of affairs. It's unfortunate. I mean, what we just heard from policeman Mike Madden was nothing short of heartbreaking, and those first responders deserve medals. The survivors of this atrocity deserve all the condolences and respect. But we can never predict this. And one of the reasons, if we look back, we have the evidence to indicate exactly from past terrorist attacks what exactly happens here. If you look at the 9/11 attackers, many of their passports were found in strip clubs and bars. If you look at the Tsarnaev brothers and the Boston Marathon bombers, you find that it was very difficult to predict that these were becoming Islamist theocrats and terrorists. And if you look in just even to this month, if you look to the Paris attacks, the evidence indicates that some of the attackers owned bars and were, for all thoughts and purposes, fully integrated in French society.
So the question is what people are supposed to do, because we heard a report from one neighbor. She saw some suspicious behavior. She didn't want to report them because she didn't want to seem like a racial profiler.
Yeah, and actually the evidence points to the fact that those who join terrorist organizations will invariably try to conceal any ostensible sign of religious devotion precisely so they are not detected. So if we're going to look to profiling, I think that ethnic profiling and profiling for overt signs of religiosity will actually miss the target, as it has done so in this instance, if the evidence indicates this was indeed a jihadist attack. I think what we need to start looking at is psychological factors. We need to start looking at ideas that are adopted and behavior. Now, those sorts of ideas we are familiar with. You know, anyone who starts saying things such as it's a duty, it's incumbent upon Muslims to resurrect this so-called theocratic caliphate, or somehow there's a global war going on against Islam and Muslims, or somehow democracy is antithesis to Islam. These are the sorts of ideas that radicals begin to adopt. And if they begin speaking in this way, I'd say to you, Megyn, even if they're drinking alcohol and eating pork, but they're speaking in this way, they are surer signs for radicalization than overt signs of religiosity, which will be concealed by a terrorist.
And it is laid out quite well in your book. Thank you, Megyn.
Thank you.